We look at ourselves as a platform to foster sustainability as a way of life.
It's also about fostering social innovation, fostering social entrepreneurship. In the long run, what really matters is this informal kind of mentorship.
So the way to identify social needs is actually to spend a lot of time in the field.
One of the ways in which social innovation is driven is informally.
Every activity has to be socially relevant.
My name is Awanti Bele. I work with Ennovent. Now, Ennovent is a social enterprise which focuses on fostering innovation from idea to impact, typically targeted at the low-income segment in India. How Ennovent fosters social innovation is basically under 4 banners. We have a vertical called Discover, which is all about discovering innovations, discovering ideas. Moving on to Startup, which is about incubating and making sure these ideas become investable, at which point we fall into finance, where we as a fund have a small pot that we invest through, as well as we do fund management for other investors in this space. And lastly, but most importantly, we've got the Scale vertical, which gets these ideas into sustainable enterprises so that there's profits in it for the entrepreneurs as well as impact at the base of the economic pyramid that Ennovent is primarily interested in. So it's like a life cycle of innovation from the time an idea is conceived to the time it becomes a successful enterprise. Let's say we strongly believe that the most sustainable ideas are the for-profit ventures. I mean, there are various ways of getting an idea to market, but the ones which really sustain and in which the individual as well as the organization is committed is a for-profit venture. So one of the biggest pain points in this process that we've identified is the lack of access to markets as well as the lack of resources for entrepreneurs. And Ennovent steps in on both fronts and makes sure that the product is tailored to what the market wants, as well as the product is made into a business. So at the end of the day, it has to be sustainable. There have to be enough money being generated for it to be pumped back into the business. And we are very much supporting the for-profit space in India right now. Ennovent has traditionally had a Discover, Finance and a Scale vertical. What we've realized is that there is something between Discover and Finance where you get an idea and you make it investable. That's why Ennovent launched a new vertical called Startup, which is about providing mentoring help, providing very basic level of help to ideas and making sure that the business plan and the proof of concepts get created. So it's about taking an idea and moving it to make it investable. So the startup model is actually very interesting, and it's slightly different from the other incubators out there. While Ennovent under our startup vertical does not provide physical incubation facilities like the others, what we essentially do is create these knowledge pockets in the form of workshops, in the form of seminars, in the form of on-the-ground events, where entrepreneurs get to spend some good quality time with mentors in the field. Now, these mentors bring decades of experience and decades of organizational capacities, which they give to the entrepreneurs and sort of get that idea to a whole business model stage. So with Startup, we've kind of completed the loop, so to say, where we've got to Discover, Startup, Finance and Scale, and it's become a life cycle product of Ennovent rather than just having a disjoint vertical products. So I think this has kind of made it easier for people to understand Ennovent as well as easier for Ennovent to deliver value. I would like to take a step back and what are the real barriers to social innovation, so to say. And what we figured out in our 2-3 year journey has been, there are 3-4 basic problems. Firstly, which is the experience and the competency issues. Most people with ideas do not have the required skill set or the required process knowledge or organization knowledge to get their products to the market. The second would be local capacity. While most of our networks are local, we tap people we know for help, while the range of expertise out there globally is so huge, and Ennovent makes it a point to provide access to that kind of help. Another third and big, very basic barrier is, of course, resources, be it financial or be it non-financial resources, another huge barrier. And I would say the last very important barrier has been the time constraint around it. Businesses today need to move fast. Honestly, ideas get old in days. So for an idea to become a successful business, there has to be a certain agility built into the business, which is not always easy to achieve. And Ennovent's services are geared around solving these 4 basic problems. So every time we see our growth, or we see the growth of social innovation, or we see the growth of entrepreneurship in the social sector, it's around solving the constraints around these 4 problems.